Hey, and thank you for joining me today. So I am continuing this video from the one that I just did, and in this video we're going to be reading Joshua chapters 12, 13, 14, and 15. It's not too long of a reading, but there are a lot of names, so please bear with me, and we'll go ahead and get started with Joshua chapter 12. Let's try that again. The Israelites struck down the following kings of the land and took possession of their land beyond the Jordan to the east, and from the Arnon valley to Mount Hermon, including all the Arabah eastward. Sihon, king of the Amorites, lived in Heshbon. He ruled over the territory from Over on the rim of the Arnon valley, along the middle of the valley, and half of Gilead up to the Jabbok River, the border of the Ammonites. The Arabah east of the Sea of Chinnereth to the Sea of the Arabah, that is the Dead Sea, eastward through Beth Jeshimoth and southward below the slopes of Pisgah. Og, king of Bashan, on the remnant of the Rephaim, lived in Ashtaroth at Edrei. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Salecah, and Bashan up to the Geshurite and Maacathite border, and half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the Lord's servant, and the Israelites struck them down, and Moses, the Lord's servant, gave their land as an inheritance to the Reubenites, Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh. Joshua and the Israelites struck down the following kings of the land beyond the Jordan to the west, from Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which ascends toward Seir. Joshua gave their land as an inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to their allotments: the hill country, the Judean foothills, the Arabah, the slopes, the desert, and the Negev of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is next to Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Gazer, 1. The king of Debir, 1. The king of Gadir, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makkedah, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tapua, 1. The king of Hafir, 1. The king of Aphik, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. The king of Hazor, 1. The king of Shimron Meron, 1. The king of Achshaph, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam in Carmel, 1. The king of Dor in Naphath Dor, 1. The king of Goim in Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. The total number of all kings was 31. Chapter 13. Joshua was now old, getting on in years, and the Lord said to him, "You have become old, getting on in years, but a great deal of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains: all the districts of the Philistines and the Geshurites, from the Sheor east of Egypt to the border of Ekron on the north, considered to be Canaanite territory. The 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, as well as the Avites in the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Arah of the Sidonians to Aphik, and as far as the border of the Amorites, the land of the Gebalites, and all Lebanon east from Baal-Gad below Mount Hermon to the entrance of Hamath, all the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon to Mishrephoth Maim, all the Sidonians. I will drive them out before the Israelites. Only dispute the land as an inheritance for Israel, as I have commanded you. Therefore divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and half the tribe of Manasseh. With the other half of the tribe, the Reubenites and Gadites, had received the inheritance Moses gave them beyond the Jordan to the east, just as Moses, the Lord's servant, had given them. From Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the middle of the valley, all the Medeba plateau as far as Dibon, and all the cities of Shion, king of the Amorites, who reside in Heshbon, to the border of the Ammonites. Also Gilead, and the territory of the Geshurites and Maccathites, all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan to Salika, the whole kingdom of Og in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He was one of the remaining Ephraim. Moses struck them down and drove them out. But the Israelites did not drive out the Geshurites and Maccathites. So Geshur and Maccath live in Israel to this day. He did not give any inheritance to the tribe of Levi. This was its inheritance, just as he had promised, the offerings made by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel. To the tribe of the Reubenites by their clans, Moses gave this as their territory. From Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the middle of the valley, to the whole plateau as far as Medeba, with Heshbon and all its cities on the plateau, Dibon, Bamathbal, Beth-Baal Meon, Jaza, Kedemoth, Mepatha, Kiriathaim, Sibma, Zereth Shahar on the hill in the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth, all the cities of the plateau, and all the kingdom of Shion, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. Moses had killed him and the chiefs of Midian, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the princess of Shion, who lived in the land. Along with those the Israelites put to death. They also killed the diviner, Balaam, son of Beor, with the sword. The border of the Reubenites was the Jordan and its plain. This was the inheritance for the Reubenites by their clans, with the cities and their villages. To the tribe of the Gadites by their clans, Moses gave this as their territory: Jazer and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the Ammonites to Aroer near Rabbah, from Heshbon to Ramoth Mizpah, and Betonim, and from Mahanam to the border of Debir in the valley, Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Succoth, and Zaphon, the rest of the kingdom of Shion, king of Heshbon. Their land also included the Jordan as its territory, as far as the edge of the Sea of Chinnereth, on the east side of the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the Gadites by their clans, with the cities and their villages. And to half the tribe of Manasseh, that is, to half the tribe of Manasseh's descendants by their clans, Moses gave this as their territory: from Mananim through all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, including all of Jair's villages that are in Bashan, 60 cities, but half of Gilead and Og's royalties, such as Bashan, Ashtaroth, and Edrei, are for the descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, that is, half the descendants of Machir by their clans. These were the portions Moses gave them on the plains of Moab beyond the Jordan, east of Jericho. But Moses did not give a portion to the tribe of Levi. The Lord, the God of Israel, was their inheritance, just as he promised them. Chapter 14. The Israelites received these portions that Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of their families of the Israelite tribes gave them in the land of Canaan. Their inheritance was by lot, as the Lord commanded through Moses, for the 9.5 tribes, because Moses had given the inheritance of the 2.5 tribes beyond the Jordan. But he gave no inheritance among them to the Levites. The descendants of Joseph became 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. No portion of the land was given to the Levites except cities to live in, along with pasture lands for the cattle and livestock. So the Israelites did as the Lord commanded Moses, and they divided the land. The descendants of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite said to him, "You know what the Lord promised Moses, the man of God, at Kadesh Barnea, about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the Lord's servant, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to scout the land, and I brought back an honest report. My brothers who went with me caused the people's hearts to melt with fear, but I remained loyal to the Lord my God. On that day Moses promised me, 'The land where you have set foot will be an inheritance for you and your descendants forever, because you have remained loyal to the Lord my God.' As you see, the Lord has kept me alive these 45 years he promised, since the Lord spoke this word to Moses while Israel was journeying in the wilderness. Here I am today, 85 years old. I am still as strong today as I was the day Moses sent me out. My strength for battle and for daily tasks is now as it was then. Now give me this hill country the Lord promised me on that day, because you heard then that the Anakim are there, as well as large fortified cities. Perhaps the Lord will be with me, and I will drive them out, as the Lord promised." Then Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as an inheritance. Therefore Hebron belongs to Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, as an inheritance to this day, because he remained loyal to the Lord, the God of Israel. Hebron's name used to be Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim. After this, the land had rest from war. Chapter 15. Now the allotment for the tribe of the descendants of Judah by their clans was in the southernmost region, south to the wilderness of Zin and over to the border of Edom. Their southern border began at the tip of the Dead Sea on the South Bay and went south of the ascent of Akrabim, proceeded to Zin, ascended to the south of Kadesh Barnea, passed Hezron, ascended to Adar, and turned to Karakah. It proceeded to Asmon and to the brook of Egypt, so the border ended at the Mediterranean Sea. This is your southern border. Now the eastern border was along the Dead Sea, to the mouth of the Jordan. The border on the north side was from the bay of the sea at the mouth of the Jordan. It ascended to Beth Hoglah, proceeded north of Beth Arabah, and ascended to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. Then the border ascended to Debir from the valley of Achor, turning north to Gilgal, that is opposite the ascent of Adumim, which is south of the ravine. The border proceeded to the waters of En Shemesh and ended at En Rogel. From there the border ascended the valley of Hinnom to the southern Jebusite slope, that is Jerusalem, and ascended to the top of the hill that faces the valley of Hinnom to the west, at the northern end of the valley, Rephaim. From the top of the hill the border curved to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, when the cities of Mount Ephron, and then went to the cities of Mount Ephron, then curved to Bala, that is Kirath Jearim. The border turned westward from Bala to Mount Seir, went to the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is Shisalon, descended to Beth Shemesh, and proceeded to Timnah. Then the border reached to the slope north of Ekron, curved to Shikharon, proceeded to Mount Bala, went to Jabneel, and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. Now the western border was the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. This was the boundary of the descendants of Judah around their clans. He gave Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the following portion among the descendants of Judah, based on the Lord's instruction to Joshua. Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. Caleb drove out from there the three sons of Anak, Shishai, Ahiman, and Talmai, descendants of Anak. From there he marched against the inhabitants of Debir, whose name used to be Kiriath Sephir. And Caleb said, "I will give my daughter Askasah as a wife to the one who strikes down and captures Kiriath Sephir." So Othniel, son of Caleb's brother Kenzah, captured it, and Caleb gave his daughter Akshah to him as a wife. When she arrived, she persuaded Othniel to ask her father for a field. As she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, "What do you want?" She replied, "Give me a blessing. Since you have given me the land in the Negev, give me the springs of water also." He gave her the upper and lower springs. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the descendants of Judah by their clans. These were the outermost cities of the tribe of the descendants of Judah toward the border of Edom in the Negev: Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kina, Dimona, Adada, Kadesh, Hazor, Ethnon, Zeph, Telim, Bealoth, Hazor Hadata, Kerioth Herzon, that is Hazor, Emam, Shema, Molada, Hazar Gada, Keshmon, Beth Pelit, Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Biziathia, Bala, Lim, Azim, El Tolad, Chesil, Horma, Ziklag, Madmana, Sensana, Lebaoth, Shilhim, and Ain, and Rimmon. 29 cities in all with their villages. In the Judean foothills, Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, in Ganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adulam, Sokol, Azekah, Sharaim, Adithaim, Gedera, and Gederothaim, 14 cities with their villages. Zena, Hadasha, Migdalgad, Dilan, Mizpeh, Jokithel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Kaban, Lamam, Chitilish, Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Nama, and Makkedah, 16 cities with their villages. Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Ifton, Ashna, Nazib, Keilah, Akzib, and Marishah, 9 cities with their villages. Ekron with its towns and villages, from Ekron to the sea, all the cities near Ashdod with their villages. Ashdod with its own towns and villages, Gaza with its own towns and villages, to the brook of Egypt and the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. In the hill country, Shamir, Jatir, Sokol, Dana, Kirioth Sana, that is the beer, Naba, or Anab, Eshtimah, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages. Arab, Duma, Eshan, Janin, Beth Tupa, Apika, Humta, Kirioth Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities with their villages. Mewan, Carmel, Zeph, Jutah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages. Halhul, Beth Zur, Gedor, Meroth, Bethanoth, and Eltikon, 6 cities with their villages. Kirioth Baal, that is Kirioth Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 cities with their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Araba, Medin, Sekaka, Nibshan, the city of salt, and En Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. But the descendants of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites who lived in Jerusalem. So the Jebusites lived in Jerusalem among the descendants of Judah to this day.